Hey everybody, welcome back to Sequoia National Park. We are at the General Sherman tree, and it is July 1st, 2020. There are quite a few people here, so we've got our masks on. We are going to follow their COVID-19 guidelines, but I would like to share a couple of things about this tree and a couple of little fun facts along with it. So stick around. You're going to enjoy this one. Hey everybody, okay, so we're back at the General Sherman tree, and this video is going to be done in sections, so I apologize for the stops and starts, but there's a lot to be seen up here. One of the things that you can do, and is a really cool photo op, and I'll show it to you. And yes, it's a busy day. It's July 1st, 2020. There are a lot of people up at the General Sherman tree, but here's a little area for a photo op against the base root structure of a fallen giant sequoia. And they will allow you in. They did make a cutout in the fence, so you can get underneath there and take some photographs. I wouldn't recommend that in the winter or springtime because it goes in probably about 15 feet, and around that time of year you might run into an animal that you might not want to run into. So anyway, again, they do a lot in these parks to real quick, let me switch subjects real quick. That is a sugar pine tree pine cone, and we'll get a little closer look at it. This one's about 14 inches long. I'm going to do a little side-by-side comparison with a sugar pine cone and an actual giant sequoia pine cone. Sugar pines grow to a height of about 250 feet. These giant sequoias can grow to about 300 feet. They seem to kind of top off at around 275 because they get so large. And I'll explain that in a minute. But let me show you this real quick. This is a different view from the base structure of that little photo op root. But what I wanted to show you was, again, when a giant sequoia falls, unless it's blocking a roadway or something like that, they don't remove them. They leave them right where they fell. I do believe this tree was probably around 250 feet tall. There's a sign on the other side, and I'll show you that. And we'll read some of the information on the tree. But again, here's the trail that leads up to the tree, and again, they don't remove them. So what they did is they made a little tourist attraction out of it and made a people tunnel for you to walk through. So you come through here, and it's been cut out. It's about 6 feet high. This would be the heartwood of the tree that's obviously rotted out because it is the softest wood in the tree. And then you come back out on the other side and you head up to the General Sherman. Well, here's a little information on what brings these trees down. So, what brought this huge tree down, or let me rephrase that. What brought this huge tree down to earth? Ironically, a tree's own size can contribute to its downfall. If the tree starts to become unbalanced, its weight quickly becomes more than its shallow roots can support. And we will talk more about the root systems and again do the side-by-side comparison on the pine cones, which is pretty cool, in just a second. So sequoias may lose their balance for one or more reasons. Road buildings, underground pipes, or soil fungi can damage the roots that hold the trees upright. If soil moisture increases, the ground may soften too much to hold the tree. Heavy snows or high winds can cause a tree to lean. Large fire scars at the base of the trunk may leave trees less to stand on. Sometimes sequoias fall, I'm sorry, it's kind of hard to see, for no apparent reason. Some unknown factor can cause the tree to lean, then gravity and weight and the great mass of the trunk eventually bring the tree down. So I'm trying to see, I'm not sure if this is actually the buttress tree, but if this is truly the buttress tree, and it looks like it, this tree fell in 1959, so 9 years before I was born. So there's so much to see up in these natural parks, and in a second I'm going to flip. Hopefully I can do this video sideways. I want to give you a full view of the General Sherman tree, and just how far away you have to be in order to get this whole tree in the frame. So hang on, and I will be right back. Okay, so we are at probably the best viewpoint that you're going to get in this area of the General Sherman. Let's read a little bit about it, huh? There it is, the largest tree on Earth, the largest tree on the planet. Across the open space before you stands the biggest tree on the planet, the General Sherman tree. Some trees grow taller and some are bigger around, but no tree has greater mass. The amount of space taken up by its trunk is greater than that of any other tree. From here you have an unusual view because you can see the entire tree from bottom to top. Notice two characteristics of a monarch sequoia. The top is dead, so its upward growth has stopped at 275 feet. It has a huge cylindrical trunk, which makes it the world's largest tree by volume. As long as a sequoia tree lives, its trunk thickens, gaining mass. Each year, the General Sherman tree's trunk gains enough wood to equal a very large tree of most other species. So, and there's another little interesting part too. And this is what I wanted to show you. This is going to be a little longer video. The general tree loses a limb. Look closely. The General Sherman tree has changed since its photo on the left. If you can see the photo, I'll point to it. This limb right here broke and fell to the ground in 2006, if I'm not mistaken. You can spot the large limb, or can you spot the large limb in the photo that is now missing from the tree itself? The second largest branch on the General Sherman tree fell in January of 2006. Okay, well, cool. No one witnessed the crash. Thankfully, it crushed only some fencing and pavement to the right. So I'm going to pause this real quick, and then I'm going to try to see if I can actually flip this sideways and get you a picture or some video of the General Sherman. Okay, so let's turn this camera around and see if it works. That is the General Sherman tree, dead center in the frame. That is the biggest living tree on the planet. And as we get closer, you'll understand why. So hang with me. I do have a little fun fact I want to share with you, and I will be right back. But there it is, the biggest tree on Earth. All right, welcome back. Got another little fun fact for you, so check this out. Why so big and so old? The sequoia trees that you see here, even medium-sized ones, are larger and older than most other trees on Earth. Why? How can a sequoia tree grow so large and live so long? Sequoias have a rare combination of traits: fast growth and long life. Put those together with sufficient water and you get a huge tree. Several adaptations help them to survive many challenges that kill other trees. The chemical tannins in the bark resists disease, rot, and insects. The bark in and of its own can be up to 2 feet thick. It's a thick, fibrous bark which provides superior insulation against fire. With little flammable sap, it doesn't burn easily. So, how do you know the age of a sequoia? Determining the age of a large living sequoia is hard. Coring techniques used on smaller trees would create big holes in the trunk if drilled into the middle of a huge sequoia. Instead, scientists measure the first outer layer. Scientists measure just the outer layer rings, then apply mathematical formulas based on old stumps, whose rings could be actually counted. Using this method, scientists estimate that the largest sequoias in this area are between 18 and 3,000 years old. Earlier, less accurate estimates put them at 6,000 years old. The world's oldest known tree, the small bristlecone pine, has lived over 4,000 years. Now, you've seen in a lot of my videos that I always say stay on marked trails, don't make your own path, because not only do you damage the ecosystem here, but this is a really good example. If you look at the bottom, this is the root structure of a giant sequoia, and you can see how expansive these root structures are. Reason being is there is no taproot on a giant sequoia. The path that I'm currently walking on, about 8 to 12 feet below my feet, is solid granite. So these trees cannot get really deep down into the earth to have a taproot to help support them. So we'll use the root structure of this tree just as a reference, and it would come down across the trail that I'm standing on and continue up into this area. A giant sequoia's root system can expand in upwards of about a mile, depending on the age of the tree. So that's a lot of ground to cover, but they're also very big trees to support, and they need obviously as much stability as possible. So I'll be right back, and I'm going to show you a little comparison. I think you'll enjoy this. Okay, so we're at the base of the General Sherman tree, and I wanted to show this to you real quick. The volume of this tree is 52,500 cubic feet. The weight of the tree is 1,385 tons, which I believe is 2,700,000 pounds. That's a heavy tree. And there's somewhere in here. Here it is. How much is that as far as the volume? The General Sherman tree's trunk could be filled. If it could be filled with water, it would provide enough water for 9,844 baths. That's one bath every day for 27 years. It's a lot of water. It's a lot of baths. So give me just a second. I'm going to turn my camera over to my friend, and we're going to do a really neat little fun fact and side-by-side comparison. Okay, so here's the little fun fact I wanted to share with everybody. I have a sugar pine tree pine cone, and I have a giant sequoia redwood pine cone. I'm going to hand the camera over to my friend Clinton over here, and I want you to check this out. This is the fun fact that you've all been waiting for. Here you go. So stay pretty close on me. So we picked these up on the roadside on the way up. If you find pine cones or anything in the park, leave them in the park. Do not take them home. As pretty as they are, this is a sugar pine tree pine cone. This one is about 16 inches long. They grow to about 24 inches long. Now you have to understand, in the springtime, when these things haven't quite dried out and have dropped their seeds yet, they weigh about 5 pounds. Now imagine dropping a 5-pound weight from 100 feet and having it hit you in the head. About 15 to 20 people every year are hit by these pine cones and are actually injured with concussions and broken bones and are actually sent to the hospital. So I'm going to set this down here for a second. And now, this is the pine cone from a giant sequoia. About the size of an egg. So come up closer.
Great, you doing a picture?
Look at the comparison. This will grow, this will produce trees that grow to about a height of 200 to 250 feet. This produces that tree right to my left. Come back down. And back to me. Now, this is what I really wanted to show you.
Guys, look here, smile.
If we get lucky, we should be able to take this pine cone and get a giant sequoia seed out of it. You just find a surface and got one. This is the most amazing part of what this little fun fact is. I don't want you to see it yet. I'm trying to pick it up. Okay, so as you saw in the video, the General Sherman tree is the largest living tree on the planet. This is the seed of a giant sequoia. It is no bigger than a grain of rice. One seed produces one tree. So, I thought that was pretty interesting. If you look at the size of this and then the size of the General Sherman tree, it's pretty amazing, back to me, that something this small can create something as big as the world's largest tree. So we're going to take this, we're going to put it right where it belongs. Take our pine cone, put it where it belongs. Take our sugar pine cone, this is really in good shape. And put it back where it belongs. Do not take things out of the park. If you pack it in, pack it out. Always stay on marked trails. Don't leave a footprint in the park. Your footprints off of the trail can leave scars in the park that can last for years. Let the parks leave a footprint in your heart, the hearts of your children, and for generations to come. With that being said, be safe, be professional, keep it real. When you're in the parks, drive slow, take your time, look at what's around you, and just enjoy what these parks are truly about. Share them with your family. With that being said, remember, hit that subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up. Let's keep these videos and these channels up for future generations and people to see and be able to experience. So with that being said, thanks for watching, and until next time, I wish you the best of health.